All right, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I had a good one. I spent a lot of time working on this commission. Trying to really get it like finished up so we can move on to either another commission or I can work on some projects for the stream itself. Kind of miss working on some stream projects here, so I might take a little bit of a break, but we'll see how it goes. I got to talk to my clients, see how they feel about it, if they're okay with me taking a little bit of a breather. But yeah, we're going to get started here in just a moment. I found some references because I need to start working on the creatures that she has dispatched. And I found some references. I just got to find my damn reference folder. There we go. So let's go ahead and pop those in up there. So these alien creatures, they come in and they are wearing basically like some sort of like kind of like mecha suit slash armor thing where it has like mining equipment. They're like tubular in shape, but they have like spider like legs. So that's why I had these like spider shaped placeholders here. So that's what we're going to work on. Here, I want to show you the stuff that I did over here, all the detail work. So I did like some lighting on the face. I did a lot of like little like detail stuff. Hold on, let's see if I can like kind of move it around here. I did some detailing on like her like armor. You got like the creatures like blood slash like oil or whatever that comes out of their mecha basically like splashed all over her, that kind of thing. I did all the different parts of the body here, including these very difficult boots to do in this perspective. And another thing that I did is I made a copy of this whole the whole image of her specific layer. I desaturated it and then I erased away in the point of interest here. So all this is going to be highly saturated, and I desaturated the back here because it's less important as far as like detailing and all that good stuff. So what we're actually going to do is we're gonna turn off Octavia here for a little bit, because I need to work on some of these things that are in the background here, so we still have part of like the 3D model I used to assist me with the perspective. So let's get that out of the way. I'm kind of the point where I just need to like do little details in the background, and then of course the creatures, and then put the final finishing touches like on the whole thing, and then we'll be done. So alright, let's see here. So let's kind of like zoom in here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to rotate it so it looks like it's right side up, because that'll kind of like help me with like the sketching and the design and whatnot. I'm a little dyslexic, so having to think about it upside down would be no bueno, no bien. So let's turn all this stuff off too, because I feel like that'll distract me, and we'll just purely focus on working on drawing these. Alright, we'll start with this big one in the front here, because that'll give me the opportunity to do like like the details and all that good stuff. So yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. So let's lower it down here, and let's put a layer on top. And we're going to try to figure out this design based on the parameters that the client gave me, so they can still be, of course, happy with it. You always want to make sure you're making the client happy. So let's put a spot for like the head area up here. I kind of wanted it like kind of like this shape, And what we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves some guidelines here as well, so we know, the general shapes here. So we got that. So let's do like a bent tube here. So we're going to kind of have it like this. We're going to try to continue and have like the perspective be warped here. Like that. And then let's give ourselves some guidelines here. So this should come down like that. And then this is kind of like curved, so it's going to be kind of like this. It's good to set up like guidelines, and let's have some more curves here just to kind of really reinforce. This is a tube. I'm doing all right. I was really tired earlier, so I pushed my my stream time back, which I normally don't do. Let's see, I wonder if I should put... The spider shape actually kind of works pretty well because there would be like a collections part for where they collect like the materials. So we're actually going to keep that and see if we can play with it and, see if we can like... What I'm thinking is there's like maybe like bulbous like chambers that are kind of like coming off of it that will contain where the materials are being like refined. So let's actually draw through. That's probably the best way to do this for the shape. And then we gotta kind of follow the perspective here. So this will actually be on the opposite side, so we won't be able to quite see it, all of it. But we're gonna do this like that, and then maybe we'll have like two more down here. So we'll do this where it's like sticking off of it. And I'm also thinking of maybe extending the tube part of the body out farther, because the client was very adamant that they are tube-like. So let's extend it out like this far, and then we can add a couple more sections of like some tubing, so maybe it has a way to like say bend in like different directions. So let's do that. And it's kind of hard with the perspective here. I kind of think maybe I should move this part of it maybe more up to, so it's maybe sticking out of the center of this center-ish area, kind of like around here. Again, we don't have to follow exactly what our little our little guideline for our 3D model here. The whole point's to be like creative. So all right, so let's draw like a center line this way. We just kind of want to, like I said, just keep track like that. And then maybe down here is another like collections like capsule kind of thing. It's just kind of like that. Alrighty. So now we need to kind of do like the legs here. So what I can actually do is I can turn this off for a sec, and I'm gonna separate some of these legs off of this layer so I can kind of place them and get a general idea of where I want to put these legs, because we're gonna change how they look anyway. So it's kind of, maybe I can put them on their own separate layer actually. Let's do that. So we're gonna cancel that. We're gonna hit copy, and then we're gonna hit paste. That way it's on a separate layer now. And then we can kind of move that wherever we want. So we got that. Let's grab some more of the other legs here. Do the same thing. And that way I can kind of just place them where I need them. And cut this jam out. Like I said, a lot of like artwork is just like creative problem solving, so you got to be kind of like your own little scientist experimenter here. So I'm going to keep these legs actually on the same side here. So let me move this other one too up over here. So we'll do this where we separated it. And let's grab some more legs. And it's always good to try to do this in like the least, oh my god. I forgot it was zoomed in like that. It's always good to try to do this in the least destructive way possible. That way, like, you know, if you're like, oh shit, I need to reference this, and it's like, you know, it's like whole form or whatever, you don't have to worry about the fact that you've like actually sliced it up and therefore, you know, kind of like destroyed the image itself. What the heck? Oh, I was on the wrong layer. this layer? This layer. So that's copy and paste. There we go. Alright, now we can move this. So we have another leg here. We can actually do as many legs as we want to, which is cool with this. Because I can just take these and I can either like duplicate these layers and then manipulate them that way. You know, that kind of stuff. I tried to work on this when my medicine had worn off, and I just did not even think of doing this method. So if you have ADHD medicine and you're doing artwork, make sure you have it. Make sure you take it. That way problem solving becomes a lot easier. Gives you that clarity, you know, you don't have that little whatever it is that's holding you back kind of thing. So alright, cool. So I kind of like the way that these are all shaped here, so I don't really need to do it on the other side because I can always just flip them and manipulate them that way. So we can actually turn this off now. And we can turn our sketch thing back on here, and now we can start to place these legs where we want them. And we can make them bigger, we can make them smaller, you know, that kind of thing. So do this. And since this is going to be, you know, something designed for like mining, I'm going to try to make them as like kind of like big and beefy as possible. We kind of want to also place them like it's like a little curled up because of course it's been slashed and defeated essentially. So this one, and I think I'm going to make this one bigger too. I want to make them all nice and big, I think. I think that's the way to go. That'll give us a lot more room to like play around with like the mechanics of it all. You know, we can have, of course, where they're like in front of each other or in back of each other, that kind of thing. Do that. And what's this one? It's that one, so let's grab it. We're gonna stick it. Let's give them like 2 per section here, I think is a good way to go. And I think I want to make them like larger as they come forward, because it's going to be like most of the way it's going to be like leaning forward because it's going to be in like a drilling kind of position. Like I'm going to have like drilling like equipment on the actual legs here. As we all know from Gurren Lagann, that's the way you solve your problems, with like a giant drill. So alright, so this one's got to be real big. That's the actual body. I didn't label any of these, so that is not doing me any favors here. We're going to make this one real big because this is going to be like the very front one here. Let's kind of have it like also follow kind of where I have them connecting on the body here. So we're going to have it actually up higher. I'm going to make this one real big. And then we're going to, whoops, I need to do the scale and rotate, not just scale. We're going to have it kind of come out like this. Connect like right here. All right, cool. So now let's do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to turn these into some like essentially tubes here, because this is going to help, you know, keep track of the shapes. So let's do the center lines, and it kind of goes down like this, and it goes like this. So yeah, and then we're gonna do like, say, like a little ball area here where, you know, so the joints connect, and then we're gonna do this like it's kind of like a cone or spiky tube, because it's gonna be like a drill kind of thing. And then this will be like the connector area here. And then we're going to, of course, have our guides. And right now I'm going to turn off the other legs so we can just concentrate on this one. We'll work on it. I think what I need to do, though, is I actually need to do the body first. So how about this? What we'll do is I'll actually turn those legs back on so I can put a little indicator of where they connect. You know, that way we have like the structure intact and I'm not missing anything here. So I can, all right, that's that. Let's do another layer here. We're gonna do green, and then we're gonna have where the legs connect. That way I know that they're like right here, they connect here, and then there's one in the back here that connects here. Okay, so now I know where they connect, so when I draw the body, I'll have the information that I need. So we're just going to concentrate on the body here. First, let's do this. We're going to lower it down. We're going to lower this down. We're going to make another layer here. I'm going to choose a different color, and we're going to kind of like sketch things out here. And we're going to kind of try to like look at our references a little bit in between, just to kind of see the kind of things they have going on here. This one's really cool. And then, oh, this one's got like mandibles. Maybe if I put some mandibles on it, that'd be cool. Okay, hell yeah. I'm kind of thinking maybe like a breathing apparatus in the front would be cool, because they're kind of like these like kind of like almost like a muscle like inside, like a clam kind of thing, from what the client has told me. But maybe they need to like say filter, you know, because they're going to be like mining here, and they probably, you know, don't want to be exposed to all that. So let's put like some like maybe like filters on here of some kind. So we're gonna kind of try our best to, you know, it's not gonna be exact perspective, but it'll be like, you know, implied perspective here. So, and then maybe it comes around. We're just doing some basic shapes here. Trying not to make it overly complex. Almost like it's like a little kind of mask thing here. And let's kind of break up the silhouette, and we'll have like some stuff that comes off of it. Like this. And then of course we can do like the detailing when we do the actual like line work, but we're just kind of getting an idea here how this might look. Maybe there's like some tubing here. Just a little bit of tubing there. Actually, we can have like some of the tubing come off, kind of come around. That might look cool. The client seemed really excited about tubing, so let's add some tubing. All right, and then we kind of want to do that on this side here, and it's like closer to the viewer a bit here, so we're gonna make it larger. And we're gonna still kind of follow what we had going on here on the other side. Like that. And then maybe some like slits for like the filter. And then this will kind of come around and maybe like connect this back here somewhere. Something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of ways to make the shape of it like more interesting. I can even bring these off a bit more. Might actually work out a little bit better. And let's actually do some tubing coming off of this. I think would be cool. I'll have a different kind of look to the front of it here. Of course, my sketching is super rough here because we're just, we're letting the ideas flow. We can start thinking about maybe like changing the shapes and whatnot. That kind of thing. Maybe there's something also that comes and sticks out here. Maybe there's another filter thing that kind of comes out like this a little bit and kind of like wraps around the back, and then it also has yeah, that's kind of cool. Now I know the client said that they have multiple like eyes on it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some bays that are going to like kind of like come in like this, and then there's going to be a bunch of eyes that actually come out and rotate around in this little area in here. So I'm kind of just establishing where they might be. Then maybe there's like let's put like a crest of some kind here. From the description, I was kind of like getting like vibes like they might be like, a little bit of like older sci-fi influence. So we're gonna kind of make it like almost like kind of like retro technology almost. So let's turn this back this way so we get an idea of how to do our bay here. There we go. That's a much better shape. And then they're also going to have some up here. We got to make sure that we also give them enough space to have like an area of which that they can be placed. And I'm just putting these guides just to show that it's like going outward like that. Then we need to have like you know, like maybe some sort of like place around it that has kind of like the things that keep it where it needs to be. And since it's like a mining thing, how about we have like a little saw kind of thing that kind of like maybe rotates here, you know, to be able to kind of like push into like the rubble and kind of like, you know, search more for those like materials. That would be sick, right? This kind of like rotates back like that. And kind of figure out the logistics of where this would kind of have like, let's go this way. Let's kind of make sure we're still repeating the same kind of shapes on the other side. Something like that. And let's put even more tubing. I think even more tubing would be awesome. And then maybe it kind of goes into something here, and maybe there's like some like bolts of some kind. And let's flip it back this way. And let's get it on the other side. It's going to be a lot harder to see because of the perspective, but we're just going to kind of, you know, have our, make sure we imply that it's there. And let's see. And then maybe I should put where like the, kind of like the eyes might be, that are like, oh, maybe they actually face outward like that. That would make more sense. Maybe we can, oh, we'll have it in like, they're set on like these rows here, so they can kind of like rotate around. I think that makes the most sense. Oh, good call, Nympha. Definitely gonna save. I really need to go in and make the save thing a thing. Because that is important. Oh god, what are you doing? It's freaking out because this is like a 600 DPI image. Because the client wanted a desktop, so I wanted to make sure, like a desktop wallpaper, so I wanted to make sure that it was nice and high res. Alright, we'll put some more in here. And we may even have to dial back some of this detail because this is going to be small. But let's put like, maybe like there's like a big one here. We're going to use like glowy stuff here. So actually let me go ahead and kind of just block that in, that these are going to be like the glowy eyes, just so I know when I go to do my line work that I leave enough space for these. Doesn't necessarily have to be red. I'm just kind of, that's the color I think that would help me best identify that they're going to be like that. And let's go back and let's grab this. This might be a different color, but that's okay. Yeah, actually that's going to bother me. This one I think is the, yeah, that's what I was using. Let me turn it this way. And we'll just kind of continue this trend down here. I think my difficulty most difficult challenge with sketching is I start to get impatient. So I'm kind of trying to keep that in check here. It's like I want to get right into just working on it, and then it's like, but then I have to solve even more problems. So let's not do that. Let's not be a whole butt. Yeah, that was looking pretty cool. And let me get the eyes on this one. I'm going up here, and we'll do that. Then we'll kind of do this, that. And of course I'm going to have to make sure that I adjust this for like the perspective and all that when I go do the line work. So this is just to give me kind of like an idea where things need to be. I don't know. Kind of reminds me almost of like the things from the Matrix too, a little bit, like the robots, how they had like the tentacles and they had like a bunch of eyes and whatnot. I guess the imagery works because anything that's kind of like insect life is just kind of like disturbing, really. Very kind of like a shock to the senses for most humans. So and it's also like if you think about it, it's like kind of like, you know, we look down on like insects and then all of a sudden they're huge and they're looking down on us. It's like that's really like disturbing. So that's just what that's probably why people use design choices like that. You know, take something that's normally beneath you and making it superior is kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. I need an adult. Okay, let's kind of like get like the Bay Area here where there's going to be the connection for the legs. I always kind of like, you know, I started drawing like Mega Man when I was young, so I always kind of do like these little like kind of like caps that kind of like flare out in different spots, like different areas that have to deal with you know, the connections of things, because that's just what I gathered from, you know, the designs from Mega Man back in the day. So all right, and let's kind of do this, and maybe we can continue this like saw like thing up like parts of the body, so we can kind of put like a little spot for it, like maybe here. No, it needs to be more like towards down this way, I think. It's kind of how we're gonna do it. And actually kind of want to make this even like bigger, really, almost like a really big like spherical kind of thing, just so we can have some interesting shapes on it. And we're also going to have to add damage to this too, of course, at some point, because she has turbo rectum. So let's get the other shape going here, and then kind of like where it's like tapered, kind of like that. Let's make this even, really want to emphasize this shape here because we want the silhouette to be broken up. Oh wait, there's going to be more. If I do that on that side, I got to do it here too, just to make sure, like that. And then maybe, ooh, we could have like some like, okay, we can have like some kind of like things that come out like this, maybe. And then maybe they also have like rotating like things for like drilling. Actually, you know what? these things might be kind of cool. Hold on. Hold up. Ooh, maybe I could make this part kind of like with that texture to it. So it's like, even as it's moving, it's also like, you know, chipping away at the surrounding like minerals. We got to think about like the functionality of things here too. So, all right, it's coming together. I got ideas. I got them ideas. The neurons are flowing. So, kind of do like this. I'm gonna have them kind of like curve and rotate out, and then also come off of it a little bit like this. So they look like they could chew through like rock, like minerals and stuff. You know what, maybe if I turn it this way, I can get the right curvature to it. Gotta flip your canvas off, and here guys, it helps. And then it's gonna start to kind of go this way, some here, like that, and then I'll probably have to make them curve more into each other here. Well, that's all right. It's pretty cool though, I think. I'm liking this idea so far. And what's good is like a lot of these are going to be like in the background too, so I don't necessarily have to draw as much detail as the ones in the back. I just have to make sure that I know what the silhouette looks like. So I can do like the implied detail. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I might have to actually move this eye thing down when I go to do the actual line work to it. All right, let's see. What else can we get from like our references here? Ooh, they kind of have like tread on them too. That might be kind of cool to have help them maybe also move. I don't know. It is aliens though, so I don't want to make it too similar to human technology. Havoc was super nice to go to the Asian market for me. They have this honey citrus flavored like sparkling water, and it is so good. They were running it with Zoro on it too for a while, so I was like hella happy about that. Right now it's Attack on Titan, so you know, I'm not super big on Attack on Titan, but you know, that's just me. So I'm thinking I do kind of want to still have like these kind of like spine kind of thing coming off of them. And then maybe these also have like some sort of like rotating mechanism to them that also kind of helps them get at ore here. So maybe something like that. Might actually have to move this. Oh my goodness, if I can select. Kind of put it like right there to start. And then I can also do this. We can kind of cheat with it a little bit here. Not necessarily cheat, but just help us out with like placing other ones. So we don't have to draw every single one. them smaller as they go back here. Might have to like change the angle and all that, but that's okay. Alright, so let's take, where's the first one? Okay, the first one's on that layer, so we'll merge these layers, and then what we'll do is we're gonna take this, so it'll be like on the back of it, like sticking off the back. Cool, so that helps break up the silhouette there, so that's gonna be cool. Yeah, it's really good. I don't always drink like sparkling water. I'm not like the biggest fan of it, but I definitely do like this. So we're just gonna kind of do this where the legs are gonna connect, because we'll connect them in a little bit. Let's flip it this way. So let's kind of have like almost like a little thing that they sit in here, these like spines, so they have like a different, we're going to kind of keep the same like shape language going on here. And I also kind of want to keep, maybe the tubes are more like sectioned like this. And then we can kind of continue that, so that maybe they have like different like ridged parts here that kind of like connect them together into a tube. Oops, I just realized I'm on the wrong layer. Is that the whole thing now? There we go. And I can kind of erase away here. And oh, we need to have the base for the other legs. Let me make sure I add those. And we want to make sure they're consistent with the other ones. These big front ones, I think, are the only ones that are going to have this like rotating aspect to it. So I don't think we need that as much for the ones going back, because this is like the area that's going through the rock mostly as it comes forward, as it plods through it. So we're going to kind of do that for where the legs connect. Ooh, wait. Maybe instead of the saw going this way, I could have like a saw that kind of rotates the other way too. Like maybe underneath where these legs connect. So maybe it kind of goes like this. And then kind of does like this way. And then like this, and it kind of like comes out. And then continues this way. And we'll figure out how to differentiate that like under the legs when I do the actual line work for it. So I just wanted to get the idea out there. So, you know, if I don't like it when I go to do the actual line work, I can just change it, and it's not a biggie. So let's get it where these other legs connect here. That, and then this one also connects back here. And then we're going to just kind of continue our shape language here. This is actually in front of that, so we can do that. And then there would be another one here that's also in front of where this leg connects. So we can erase that away. Trying to think of things spatially here. This will actually come in front of that piece, so let's do that. And then we're just gonna kind of continue this little saw jam this way. Maybe this one actually rotates. Yeah, it rotates this way because we need some that rotate the opposite direction here. Getting there. And then kind of have this one. The saw's got to be going the other way like that. And all of this needs to connect to this kind of base here. So we're going to kind of do this. Again, we're doing that Mega Man philosophy here because why not? It's a design that works. And then maybe we'll have some maybe there's some tubes that connect it here where it takes the minerals that it's collected. Alright, now I want these to be like really stick out and really break the silhouette up. So again, we're going to follow our Mega Man mentality because I'm a Mega Man now. Mega Man was like such good design for like someone like me when I was young to start to learn to draw here. So really helped out because it was like shape based. All right. And then let's see. Thinking maybe we need like some tubing of some kind would be cool back here. Kind of wraps around these different parts here. And again, when I go to do the line work, I can make this like make sense. Cool. I think that's pretty good. I mean, it's a lot of detail. I think I want to do the line work for this actually before I move on to the legs. Again, like I said, I'm really impatient when it comes to sketching. So I like, when I'm drawing, I like to skip around to different parts of like my task essentially. That way I don't get too burnt out on one particular aspect. Like if I kind of like change up the mentality of what I'm doing, it helps me avoid burnout when I'm drawing. So it's a little tip. Hope that helps somebody. So So we're just gonna go right into drawing here. And you know what? I'm gonna actually even make this easier here with my line work. And I'm gonna do the same thing when I was sketching, where I just duplicated things and manipulated it that way. So let's get the whole deal kind of drawn out here. That way, when I go to duplicate it, I can just have it good to go. I know there's a way to make custom brushes, like out of stuff like this, so I could just make it into a brush, but I don't know how to do that, so we're just not gonna worry about that right now, because it would take too much time for me to kind of like figure that aspect of it out. Trying to make sure that it's got some depth to it here. So looks like it's actually 3D. Cool. So now I can take this and I can do this. And I can manipulate like the shape of it to make it curved here in a sec. I can actually have it like it's a little bit, so it's actually going to be behind it a little bit here, because it's going to be something that is repeated. So actually, let me just go ahead and do these, and then I can manipulate them individually. And just get the general placing of them, and then I can manipulate them. Because like I said, fuck drawing all that like manually. It's a little bit much. And I can actually put them on here too, now that I think about it. Work smarter, not harder. While this is still tedious, this takes way less time than drawing it all out one by one. Like, way less time here. Ooh, yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, I could even make that bigger, but I don't know. Then you wouldn't really be able to see as much detail on this side. Okay, so you know what? That actually rotated pretty alright. Let me see if there's any of them that I need to do any manipulating. Probably maybe this one needs to be rotated a little more. I mean, technically, you know, when I combine them all together, I can do a little bit of a mesh transformation. But what I'm going to be doing, of course, is I'm going to be erasing away where these lines like overlap. But I want to make sure that these all kind of line up along this this line here. Actually need to rotate that a little bit. Maybe this way. There we go. That looks better. Now let's actually rotate this one too a little bit. Want to make sure that we're selling the fact that this head here is rounded. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Oh yeah, that looks like a curve now. Hell yeah. Good. Alright, so now I'm going to start erasing away where they overlap. And then let's see, then maybe this one. Nope. Is it this one? That. Oops, I just realized with this one, this kind of needs to go here just a little bit. And then with this one too. Oops, maybe it's this one. Kind of do this number. There we go. Computer's like, what are you doing to me? Why are you like this? I'm like, shh, it's gonna be okay. Oops, there's more up here. I actually need to erase away. Probably on these two. Yep. Oops, not that much. Something got erased a little way on this one, so let's fix it. Hell yeah. Awesome. Now we can merge these together. Where does it start? Right here. And merge. And then what we can do is we can use our mesh transformation here. Make sure that everything is kind of warping with perspective a little bit here. So we can curve it even more. Up like that. Maybe this comes out this way a little bit more. Kind of want it to get bigger as it comes forward. And then it's going to come back down a little bit there. So I think that's actually good. Oh, let's kind of do this number a little bit. And let's make sure that it actually follows the kind of curve here I want without warping too much. And let's flip it, make sure it looks okay this way. The curve got warped a little bit, but maybe if I do like a tighter selection. And let's kind of bring this down in this way. I think this will kind of fix it. That's probably a bit better. There. No, I didn't have to draw all that. Hell yeah. That's awesome. And I'm going to put a layer underneath it to do the other details here. Just so we don't have to concern ourselves with things. So I kind of want to do the things that are like over top first. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I want to do the shape. Well, I already had this shape established, so that's fine. Let's just kind of do these. You know what? I think I actually have a brush for these. Let's put it under artificial, and let's do downloaded material. Here we go. We got some tubes here. Let's do these. Oh my god, my brush is huge. Let's do maybe 50. Alright, so let's change this to white so we can change the opacity. Oops. So that's, well, let's do it a little different. Let's have it come from more back here. And then I can get that correct, more correct perspective there. So do brightness to opacity. And we can also manipulate this as well to kind of fit what we need here. So it's going to kind of come together up here a little bit like this. Well, maybe let's make it a little fatter that way. And we're going to rotate. We're going to move this in here. This is definitely going to get squished more this way, though, as it comes back, because it's coming up underneath. Same with this. Bring it in, bring it in. Bring this out, that out. Deselect. And then we can kind of add up here, kind of where it's going to actually connect here. We're going to do this number, and we're going to like just kind of cap it right here. No, we're going to add a little bit more to it, and then we'll cap it. No, stop. Maybe I need to bring that up more. Actually, you know what we can do? We can actually have the cap overlap it. That would make more sense. Do that, and we'll kind of have it go kind of like this. We're going to figure this out. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of problem solving, so. Maybe if I flip this other way, I'll have an easier time figuring it out. Okay, and then we can do like, I also have to have enough space so it doesn't go into the eye here. All right. Maybe I need to just move it a little bit more this way. Move it down so we have some more space to kind of figure out how this actually connects. All right, maybe it's more of a shape like this. And it kind of comes to inadvertently a penis shape, but you know what? we're gonna giggle like we're 12 and we're gonna move on here. Penis. Okay, so that kind of connects that there a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna do what we did before, where we're gonna duplicate it. We're gonna move it this way a bit, and we're gonna move it down a little bit because the head is kind of tilted like that. And then I know I want the little like respirator things here, so I'm gonna cut that out on this layer. Or is it this layer? What damn layer is this on? Alright, cool. So we got that. And it needs to also kind of be covered by the base of it as well. And then this one is this layer. So there's going to be part of a respirator thing here. So we're just going to go ahead, we're going to delete all that. Like that. And we're actually gonna warp this a little bit. We're gonna bring it out a bit more. And we're gonna kind of squish it this way a little bit. Like that, and then bring that up more. And then out more down this way. Might move it over a bit too. And change the angle. Just want to make sure that it's not competing so much with the other one. All right, and save. And my computer's gonna freak out for a second here. Excuse me. Alright, let's get this kind of crazy respirator thing going on here. So, what layer is this? Is that layer? Let's do it on this layer here. So we'll kind of get like, maybe like the shape going on here. That and like that, and cross like this. That'll just be like the top cap part of it. So we're gonna do this, that. Make this fatter. Alright, so that. And then let's do, it kind of comes like this, and down, and out like that, and then have like this, like that. And let's use we're going to use our straight line tool here. Whoa, that's huge. Let's do 10. Maybe even less than that. Let's do 5. We're actually going to have it go over the lines here because this is going to kind of like you know, I should do this on another layer so I can easily. So I can easily erase when I need to. Need to warp it a little bit for perspective. And then I can do like this. I can do that. And let's give it a little bit of some depth. I don't know. I think making these things look like really industrial will make it cool. I mean, especially since they're like essentially mining equipment. There we go. That looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and merge those layers so we just have that. And let's kind of do this where we're gonna make sure we give some line width variation here. Things. We also got to kind of show the depth a little bit here. We're gonna do this number and kind of fatten it up where it connects there. Do that down here. Kind of made this more difficult for myself by having it be so dynamic, but you know what? It looks cool in the end. And I think I can do most of the detailing with the coloring and rendering too. So that's cool. So let's take this. We're going to duplicate. We're going to flip it. Move it over here. Hit OK real quick. We're going to flip our canvas. And then this will be up a bit more, of course, because of the perspective it's at. It's going to be a little bit behind this. And we need to, let's try using our actual perspective here. So we're gonna squish it a little bit this way, and we're gonna bring this over just a bit like that, and then maybe we'll tilt it like kind of like this, and that's probably okay. Let me flip back and forth, make sure it looks all right. I think it does. Yes. Yeah, I'm designing the yeah, they're like mining things. Yeah, so I have like this whole like tube thing, and I kept like the back of like say like the spider area here because there's going to be this is going to be where the minerals are collected. I tried to take some ideas from these mining equipment with this, so like, you know, this will help get away some of the ore. These will rotate also, and then there's going to be these like saw like things that go around the body too, so it can move through the ore and the sediment. So yeah, that's my plan so far. Just kind of doing the detailing now. Save. And I have the legs saved on a separate layer. I'm just trying to get the body done. Hell yeah. Glad you like it so far. Alright, so we got that. Let's kind of do... Let's do this where the lines kind of connect. Like that, and a little bit right there. Like that. Cool, cool, cool. Alrighty. So we have that, we have that. Let's go ahead and we can merge these layers together. And we have that and the other one. So we merge those two together. Hell yeah. Alright, so above this layer, let's kind of do something similar to this, I think would work. But we're going to do it so it's like kind of comes out like this, comes out, that, and gets bigger as it goes this way, and like that, comes there. That, and this actually needs to be more like this, and this needs to come more out like that, and then kind of have where it's like indented. And like, oh, it's got to come up further. Like that. And like that. Something along those lines. And let's do where it's like connected here. Kind of go like that. Make sure this all kind of interlocks together and isn't just random. I was telling chat, Three Frogs, before you got here that I'm using the kind of like the Mega Man philosophy for design here, using the basic shapes along with like the functionality of things. Alright, so that, and we're gonna have to erase away some of this. Yeah, if you want to learn to like draw, like hell yeah. I mean, Mega Man's where I started, so. Now look at me. Whoa. Alright, let's have it kind of go like this. And it's going to curve some more. And then I think we're going to have it kind of stop like right here. We'll draw through. And then we'll just do this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I actually, I'm a big fan of H.R. Geiger and of the Alien series. The tubes are a brush that I found because I didn't really want to necessarily, like, draw those out manually. Work smarter, not harder. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I owned the original, well, I used to own the original art book for the first Alien movie, so and I am enjoying Alien Earth so far. Like, it's not like the best Alien thing ever, but like I like, some of the actors in it and that kind of thing. So I'm digging it. I'm also like impressed that they can get away with as much as they're getting away with as far as like gore and like that kind of thing in the show, like as a television show. I think it's pretty crazy. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I watch it with my wife. I do think it's cool that the each episode is directed by like a different director. I kind of like that like style of things. So like the show isn't like exactly the same every episode, so it doesn't get Scooby Doo syndrome. Exact same format, same things happen every episode. And what's cool is I can take. I think streaming makes it easier since they aren't really sponsors, please. That's true. That's a good point. But yeah, I was saying, it's like once I get this one done, I can just add various levels of damage to the other ones in the back, and I can kind of like erase away parts. That way, I don't have to, you know, don't drive myself nuts like trying to draw like all of these. So that's why I'm putting so much detail into the biggest one. The one's the fourth. Oh yeah, that's why it has so many like it has all the tubes for like filtering like the dust and that kind of thing. Um, yeah. So when it's broken apart, there'll be you'll be able to see like some of the aftermath of basically the destruction of the organics inside. I need to draw it out first before I destroy it though. So all right, let's do some smaller tubing here. You know what? I just realized I never turned my model on. Let me fix that. Oh my goodness. My model's just sitting there, just like staring into your soul, like, gee. Okay, there we go. Now I'm moving. Sorry, guys. I was looking at my screen. I'm like, why does that look weird over there? Let's see. Like a kind of a cap thing going on here. connects somewhere under there. And we're not going to worry about where. we're just going to imply that it connects under here somewhere. Which layer is this line on? On this layer? Well, that's something I definitely need to erase away. So it's that. And is it this layer? Yeah, it's that layer. Oh, gotta keep track of my layers here. You know, maybe I should flip it this way. Oh yeah, that needs to be fatter. Okay. No, wrong brush. No, wrong brush still. Jesus. There we go. Do that. And let's kind of also give it like some implications of the shape here. Like that. Let's do some shadowing just a little bit right there just to imply it. Oops. No, stop. Stop it. No. Forgot that this is a different layer. Break up the values a little bit here. Do the same up here. Oops. Some line width variation here. And put some up there, make it a little thicker where it begins. And this is that pipe. And it's going to be behind this. Like that. And we'll kind of give it a little bit of thickness right there. And duplicate it. And we'll flip it. And then we'll bop it and we'll twist it. Alright, we're just gonna... A lot of this is actually going to be erased away. So what I'm going to do is just kind of do this. And I'm going to do this. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. Because it's going to be covered up by all this stuff. Make sure I erase away all the little bits so there's no artifact. And let's kind of thicken it up here as it touches these lines. A little bit of ocular occlusion there. Alright, hell yeah. Cool. No. It's freaking out, man. Oh my goodness. Computer's like, Okay, so that's that layer. What's this? What's that? So let's go ahead and merge what we have, because I think all of these that are overlapping are good at the moment. I don't want to do too much layer management here. So that should be all that I've got so far. Cool. Alright, let's get some slots on this one. So, do some going this way. Some more filtering. Kind of make them a little farther apart here as we go down. And kind of rotate a little bit here. There. And then I can take this and cut that away. And then we're gonna flip it. And give it some depth. This would actually go the other way because it's kind of turning the other direction. I'll be like that. Like that. Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and we're going to save here. Alright, let's do... Let me take this and we're gonna do our, where is it, ellipse shape here. So we can kind of get like the eye shape here for where the socket is. Something along that line there. And then let's duplicate it, and we're going to bring it down a bit in size here. And we're going to have it kind of go like that. Duplicate again. Give it more space to kind of start to converge here. A lot more on that one, and we'll move it up. This is just kind of an easier way to do this kind of effect here. And then we're going to merge them all together, and then we'll do some line width variation on them. So, duplicate, transform, scale. Alright, that's actually probably okay like that. Actually, wait, where's the, okay, so let's take this and this, and then we're actually going to take the whole thing And we're gonna rotate it a little bit so it's kind of like more like I have it in the sketch. So it's more like a little more like that. And then another thing we can do is we can do some perspective a little bit here and kind of squish it in that way. And then we can pull it out more this way. And then we can kind of play with where it's going to be. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Might have to do some mesh tool to warp it a little bit. So let's go ahead and we'll merge these, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to clean up our lines here. We're going to do some variation in the widths. And then we're going to do stuff like this where we thicken it out as it comes out. And let's bring this in a little bit here, and then we can bring it back like right there. I don't know if that's actually different than what it looked like before, but we're going to say it is. Do the same with this. We don't want the lines to look too perfect. That way it won't look like, it won't vibe with the whole general style. You know, it'll look too mechanical in a way, at least with like the drawing itself. And even though we're drawing something that is mechanical, when it look like, of course, we want to make sure that it's drawn by human hands, so there needs to be imperfections, or it'll just look weird. It'll be like Uncanny Valley. Alright, so that's a lot better there. I need to get some of the outer rings, get some difference in the width here and there. So we're just kind of take a couple different spots, and we're going to erase away a little bit here and there, like I said, so it's not perfect. Maybe some on the outer parts too. Yeah, let's do it with this. Things need to look more intentional, is really what I was trying to go for there with what I was saying. That's why you can spot AI, because, you know, one, it's all like a very similar style, and like two, it's like there's no deliberate things or intentional things done, so you can tell it wasn't done by a human being. Because imperfections are actually what, you know, kind of makes us who we are. And since AI has no personal identity, it has no way to incorporate those imperfections. So I mean, perfect lines like this are okay if you're, you know, if you're working on like stickers or something like that. Something where it's like chunky and it's gonna be, see, now it looks like way better. I can even actually probably completely erase away some parts of it here. And then I can use my shading to bring it together. So let's actually do that. I think that will look better. There we go. And it's almost like maybe there's like a highlight or something that's going to go in that way. Okay, cool. Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and let's save. I need some more stuff to drink here. But yeah, definitely like Uncanny Valley stuff. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do with like the eyeball things is I'm actually gonna draw those by hand because this was like just like the more difficult thing to do. So, and we're gonna use our rendering slash coloring to make these unique. So we're not gonna put a ton of detail in here. You know, coloring is where I like to really like just absolutely go nuts. So there's gonna be one big one in there, and then we're gonna have some smaller ones that kind of. And what I can do too actually is I can put it on a different layer. I can draw one the way I like it, and then I can manipulate that one like we did earlier with our other details here. Let's just see if I can make like a oval the way I want. Maybe I need to zoom in more. Let's do it up here. That's kind of closer to the oval I was looking for. A little bit. Like I said, we're going to add a bunch of detail into these eyes when it comes to coloring, so just kind of get like the shape and how it sits in this little oval thing. And go back to this because these little artifacts are pissing me off. You know, it just kind of bothers me. So now we can take this and we can manipulate it to kind of go where we need to go. And I'm gonna also do some perspective here, so it kind of goes more like this, like it's going outward. And maybe even more, kind of like that. Yeah, that looks okay. Take and we'll duplicate it. And we'll do scale and rotate again. Probably needs to be more facing this way. Something like that. Duplicate. And let's kind of like offset them here so they're not all on the exact same row. We're going to make them a little bit bigger as they come out too. And we're going to mess with the perspective a little bit as they go out. So that, and we're going to blow it out more this way. We're going to tilt it too. Some more like that. You know, it's only slightly bigger, but we're going to go bigger as we go out. So do this. And scale and rotate. I'm going to try to offset it, and I'll probably have to mess with the perspective here to make it fit correctly, which is fine. Kind of like squish it that way a little bit, and kind of like that. Looks like it's more rotated a bit there. And then we should be able to, in theory, flip that vertically, move it down this way, and rotate it. Might even need to manipulate it even more here. Let's bring the scale in. That'll probably help. Let's rotate it too. And I want to stop moving the center point. I want to move it off the center of the other one, so it's okay if they're like kind of different sizes there. That's all right. Let's grab this one and we're gonna duplicate it. Take this, do scale and rotate, kind of offset them a bit. And then let's mess with the perspective again. Might even need to actually scale that down a bit. Or maybe I can need to give it space to fit in the, there we go. If I mess with the perspective a little bit, that gives it some space. Duplicate, and we're gonna do transform, scale and rotate. Rotate it way out this way. We're actually going to have to scale it down because we kind of want to make sure that this still looks like the eyes kind of funnel like outwards from this point here. There we go, that looks alright. And then layer, duplicate. Turn it upside down and kind of put it like here-ish. I think that looks okay. That's probably enough eyes, I think. I think that's okay. Alright, cool. So let's find all these layers here. Where's the bottommost? There we go. So we're going to merge all that together. We're going to go ahead and fix anywhere that's like kind of fuzzy. Kind of bring that back in because if you don't change the layer style in it to from raster to say like an image material, it's gonna get a little fuzzy as you like manipulate it, so you might have to go back in and just kind of darken some of the spots and erase away a little bit here and there, just till it looks back kind of the way you want it. Granted here, like I said, when I do the coloring is going to be doing most of the heavy lifting here, so these are just kind of more so guides as to where the different pieces are. Alright, that's a lot better. So that's one. Let's go ahead and we'll save, and we'll see if we can warp and manipulate this to do the other ones so we don't have to draw each of them. It just doesn't really make sense to do all this like by hand. So that's going to be, so the head's tilted down, so I think it needs to be a little bit below. It needs to be this way. We're going to bring it in some. And then we're going to have to warp it from there. So I'm thinking probably a mesh transformation. Probably be our best bet. Well, actually, let's do perspective first. And then if we still need to do it, we can do mesh transformation. So this needs to be kind of tilted this way. This needs to kind of come in like that. And this needs to, I don't know, maybe this isn't the best way to do this. I think if I do that and then I do the mesh transformation, I can make this work. Let's flip it this way, because then my brain will have an easier time figuring out what I'm doing here. All right, so what we need is we need to make it look like it's following the curve here. And we need to bring it in. Probably gonna have to manipulate this a whole bunch to kind of fit into the area that we need here. It's gonna be a lot of moving these little points around until it looks right. And if it doesn't work out, then we can always start over. Alright, some of this has got to get manipulated too. We're kind of losing our shape here. I'm going to bring it in some too. Let's flip it back this way. Let's see if we can get our shape back here. Probably should have done this before I warped the perspective. That probably would have made more sense. Oh, it's like way too low now. There we go. It's a little bit better. Flip it back. I think we're getting there. I think we just have to keep kind of moving things a little bit here and there, and we'll get kind of the desired effect we're looking for. Yeah, I think that looks okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to erase away the overlap parts. So these like saw blade area. I'm going to go ahead and go in here. I'm going to do this. Oops. Go like that. And then, of course, we'll fix anywhere we need to. There we go. think that's all right. And then we got to get these two. So let me go ahead and get the original. Duplicates. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a mesh transformation right off the bat here, instead of worrying about the perspective, because I think that made it harder. Let's kind of put it more like up here, and then we can warp it out. Flip it this way. Let's do our mesh transformation. And of course, when I take a break from streaming, I'll also be able to walk away from this for a little bit and then come back and look at it. And if things look funky, I can see it with brand new eyes, just that have like not stared at it for however long. So it won't be like a biased read on it. Bring it in to kind of follow the shape more of the head. I think maybe it needs to kind of come more this way too. Could be wrong. This needs to kind of go this direction here, maybe out a little bit this way. I think that looks pretty good. All right, let's save. And then we'll duplicate that layer, and we'll flip it this way, and we'll see if we can get this to be manipulated the way we want on this side. So first and foremost, it definitely needs to come in more. First mostly. Just kind of try to gradually orbit the way it needs to be. This actually needs to come that way. This needs to come over. We're going to do that. Bring this all in here. So this all needs to come in to make this work. Let's flip it. Shape is kind of off now. It's probably alright. So, what I'm going to do is cut out the blades again. that. Yeah, I think that looks good. Let's just add, let's get this a little, it's getting a little fuzzy here, so I'm kind of bring the lines back. Let me see them hands to me, stick to me like caramel. There we go. I feel like that's enough progress now. I feel like I need to take a break, to step away from it, come back. Let me turn on where I have those legs guides, so Three Frogs can kind of see what's going on here. So what I did is I took the legs off this like spider thing here, and I kind of like manipulated like where they're gonna be, and they're gonna of course have like different shapes and like drilling equipment and stuff on them too. So thanks. Well, I'm glad you like it. That makes me happy. All right, let's go ahead and save real quick. I'm gonna put this all into a folder so I can get it more organized here. So do that. We'll put creatures. Do that. Do this. Close that up, and let me go ahead and kind of turn things back on here so we can get like a whole view of everything. And we'll flip it the right way, of course. That. And let's turn these on. And the pods in the pod room. And let's turn Octavia back on. Is it this one? Yes, it is that one. Okay, turn this on, this on. Let's go ahead and turn that back around. And then where the legs are going to be coming at her. Alright, cool. So this is what we have so far here. I'm pretty proud of what I got so far, so yeah. Alright, let me go ahead and stick you guys in the lobby here so we can do a wrap up. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this late stream here. I gotta go buy my kitty some wet food so he isn't gonna starve, but he's gonna act like he's starving anyway. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully at 1 p.m. this time, instead of 3, to also continue to work on this some more. If you guys like the kind of content I'm doing, please follow me to see when I go live. Consider subscribing. We're doing a partner push here, and my first subscription goal is 10 subscribers. So if you would subscribe to me, that would help me tremendously to continue to do what I do for you. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. Bye.